What's up, guys? We are back. Fitness Profit Multiplier, Anthony and Jimmy. Today, we're going to be discussing managing work-life balance while growing your personal training business. So, work-life balance. We talk about the gym, how much revenues the gym do, what the gym needs to do, how to work your lead. We talk about all this stuff. We never talk about the stuff outside of that, right? And you might not even know this. I have 2 kids, a wife, a house, 4 dogs, a mortgage, all these other things that go along with it. I just don't really talk about it on the podcast. So how do I balance these things? How do I balance the gym? Even what I'm doing now, we have another venture here that we're doing another business here with Fitness Profit Multiplier. How am I balancing all this stuff? And on the other side of this, Jimmy's here. He's got a nice steady girlfriend that he's had for a couple of years. He has his own house. He's got a dog as well. He has responsibilities outside of it. He goes out, he hangs out with his friends, he does all this stuff. How do you balance it all? And we're going to talk about the balancing act between work and business. And before we even get started this, I will say, if you are doing under 15K in your business by yourself, you have no work-life balance. You need to just work because you don't deserve to be slaving away for nothing. You have to slave away to get your business to a certain point so you can buy back your freedom. So I will say that first. In the beginning, there is no work-life balance. And I don't even know how I did in the beginning. In the beginning, I talk about this too. I built my gym by myself up to 25K per month by myself, working endless hours. And at the time, I had a family. My daughter was born at that time. She was a baby. My son was just about to be born. I was competing in powerlifting. I still had a house with a mortgage, and my wife and everything, the 4 dogs. So I still managed to have work-life balance in that same time. But you kind of have to shift at some point where it's just about the gym in order for it to grow. But Jimmy, let's talk about this work-life balance thing. It's very hard to achieve.
Anthony has a much better experience with that because I don't have as many things to balance, let's just say. I'm a little bit less obligated with other things in my life because I've been single for a long time, no kids, no nothing. But there is still, even if you're somebody that's listening to this and you don't have a family or you don't have a mortgage or whatever it may be, you still have a life outside of your fitness business. And there are some things that need to happen in order to manage those relationships properly and make sure that everything is solid in your life. So, and these are things that we've learned over time because we've messed these things up. Like I messed some things up with some relationships that I had in the past because my gym was kind of taking over my life and didn't do the things that needed to be done across my mental state to separate my personal life from my gym life. And still to this day, there are times when I'm talking about the gym with my current girlfriend and she's kind of like, okay, I'm done talking about your work stuff, kind of a thing. And so you have to balance those things out with the relationship that you're in. And sometimes that comes down to picking the right person to be in a relationship with that can understand where you're coming from. But when we talk about it from a relationship perspective, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is set some time to switch your brain from work mode to family mode or work mode to relationship mode, because these 2 different modes need to be separated in your life so that you have some separation and it doesn't feel like you're, killing yourself in your head thinking about the gym all the time. Now, as Anthony said in the beginning, that's all it's going to be. And it's not that you're thinking about the gym all the time, it's that you're literally at the gym all the time in the beginning. And it has to be that way. So I don't want to lead you astray and go, oh, well, you have to set your mind up in the beginning. If you're making a small amount of money in your facility, it's not going to go anywhere unless you focus intensely on that one thing and that's all you do. But once you're past a certain point, you need to set these barriers up where maybe it's before you leave the facility, you have a ritual where, okay, you close all the tabs on your computer and you clean up your desk and you reset. You have a reset task that resets you so that once you get in the car, you start thinking about your family. When you're on your way home from the gym, you start thinking about your family and your girlfriend and your life outside. as opposed to continually ruminating over what's going on in the gym that day or what was going on in the gym that week. And you can leave it alone and push it to the side so that you're there, you're available, and you're present for the other people in your life so that your business, you as an entrepreneur, doesn't cloud all those other things that are happening in your life and is creating this separation. And the drive home is a really nice time to do that, is to just empty your brain of that and fill your brain with your family.
And I will say it's easier said than done, right? Especially if you had something, client cancels, you lost a bunch of clients this month, or, it's very hard to do that. But like Jimmy said, circling back, having a spouse for me that was total opposite of the fitness industry has helped a lot because I'm able to actually not talk about the gym when I get home. And that was one of the things in the beginning that really attracted me to my wife because when I came home, especially if you're a one-on-one trainer listening to this, how it goes. Talking to clients all day about their nutrition and you're just listening to them yap and yap. You come home and you kind of want to unwind from all that. You want to break away. You want something I want different. I don't want the same, So for me, that has definitely helped because coming home, my wife doesn't care about fitness, which is so odd. And people think it's so funny. It's like, she has no interest in working out at all. I try all the time to get her to work out, but no interest. But it helps me because it's easier for me to kind of unwind from doing that. So that's the first thing that has kind of helped me. Second thing is, like Jimmy said, you got to compartmentalize the whole thing. I'm at work. I'm 100% on work. And Arnold Schwarzenegger had like a famous quote, and he said, like, when I was working out, a bomb could go off. It doesn't matter. I was still so focused on my workout. And I kind of took that mentality when I was at the gym. When I'm at the gym, I'm present. I don't answer my phone. I don't look at text. I try not to look at text unless something bad happens. But, there's been times when I train people and I looked at like my Apple Watch and my wife had sent like a bad text. And like, I have to just shake that off really fast and get back to the task at hand. Be present with whatever you're doing. And again, easier said than done, especially if something bad happens at the gym. Then it's kind of like on your mind. I'm trying to play with my kids and like I got this crap on my mind from the gym. It's definitely not easy, but you have to really like, okay, whatever this problem is that I'm going through right now, it's not on fire. Sometimes you got to kind of let the fire burn, like, okay, I will handle it tomorrow. It's not a necessity for me to go in there and change Mrs. Jones's contract right now. So you got to kind of remove that stuff from your mind and compartmentalize it. And okay, I'm home. I'm focusing on the kids. I'm home. I'm focusing on everything else. Put my phone away. I try not to look at it. There's always different strategies. And you have to obviously want to be home and do those things, right? Like I could easily just, zone out and think about the gym or open up my laptop. And working from home is very hard too. And that's like kind of the strategy that we're at now. It's like, I work mostly from home. And some days I'm going to the gym today just to kind of put myself in that place. And then I come home and it's easier to I found it's easier to let it go when you go to the facility and then leave the facility and come home. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, 100%. I totally get that zoning of going into work or leaving work. I mean, you may have a desk set up at your facility or at your home, and that's where your work happens, but it's still home. So there's not as much of a disconnect, and then it starts to cloud the waters of like what is work and what is not, and you're in the same space. And so having these dedicated spaces in your home that are not workspaces are important to separate yourself from that task. So you may get a lead that comes through, right? When you're at home, and it may be a notification on your phone. So you get that lead that comes through. If that lead comes through after 8 p.m., you can probably follow up with them the next day, right? You don't have to, oh, honey, I got to go follow up with this lead right now. Maybe in the very beginning.
I want to jump in there really quick. In the beginning, I was doing that. And Jimmy actually gave me a really good idea for this. And I wish I would have had this in the beginning. Oh, I really wish I would have had this in the beginning. Because I use my personal phone for work, which was a horrible idea. So if you guys are doing that, change this immediately. But you need to have a separate cell phone for the gym. You need it. It's 100% needed. You have this separate cell phone for the gym. And then when you're done with work, that cell phone leaves and stays at the gym. It stays there. Because then when you go home, your personal cell phone is not going to ring with anything from the gym. And
Right.
it's so important to separate them. And Jimmy says this story all the time. My business was up to $500,000 a year, and I was still using my personal number to get all these things done. Crazy when I think about it now. But having a separate line, separate cell phone for the gym is vital for having that work-life balance. Because again, if you leave the work phone at work, it's at work. Then whenever you get there tomorrow, you pick it up and you deal with all the fires that come with that. People's
Right.
billing, they want to switch appointments, all this, but you have to be able to shut off at a certain time. Have to.
You have to think about it from another perspective. Like, do you want your employees? I mean, yes, it'd be great to have an employee that works nonstop, but is that, and we can talk about how you can kind of get some automation stuff going that works that way. But do you want that balance for your employees' life? Is that what you hired them for? A hired gun that's just going to do your bidding at all times? Or do you want them to have a good life and enjoy their work? Because if they enjoy their work, they're better for your clients, all these kinds of things. So you wouldn't expect your employee to be following up the leads at all hours of the night and all hours of the day and doing admin tasks when they're supposed to be with their family. You set parameters for your staff to be on work at this time and off work at this time. So you have to set that up for yourself in the beginning so that you're not responding to every notification that comes through. The way that I personally operate, the only notifications I have on my phone are for my fitness tracker and text messages. I have no other notifications on my phone. No email, no CRM notifications, no nothing. Because when I'm in work mode, I handle all those things. And when I'm not, I don't. I don't have an email app on my phone. I don't even have Facebook on my phone. It helps me to focus and stay present in the moment because we all fall victim to the notification on the phone. Bzz, bzz, oh, what? Bzz, bzz, oh, what? And that distracts you from your family and your life, and you're not present. And then the same thing happens when you're at work. You're getting distracted by your family to not focus on the work. And focus is the number one skill that's going to take you to $1 million in your gym. Focus. Dedicated focus time where you're completing the task at hand and not getting distracted by other things. So you get rid of those notifications. You set your time up so that you're having a ritual where you get rid of work and you start bringing on family or whatever it may be. Those are the two main things that we recommend doing. And having that laser focus, like Arnold said, a bomb could go off, but what you're focusing on. There was another quote that I like a lot, and it was from a marketer. I can't remember the marketer who it was, but there's the story of they're in their office and they're writing ad copy, and they know that the ad copy makes them a ton of money. So somebody comes up, knocks on the door, the front desk person's like, hey, do you want to do something about this? And they're like, no, don't bother us. We're working. Knocks on the door super loud. Nothing. Comes in, screams, there's a fire in the building. And they keep writing their copy. Is that fire in our building or the next building? And it's like the next building over. And these guys are still something like that. And these guys are still writing their copy because they know that the copy is going to make them money. So they need to have that focused time to make that happen, no matter what's going on around them. So very similar to Arnold. Arnold's quote resonates with me a little more because, he's Arnold. But yeah, you have to have that dedicated focus on the task at hand. And then you have to have that same dedicated focus with your family and your personal life when that's happening too.
Yeah, and I like the idea of what you just said too. And like, I use my phone and my laptop for work, right? Like all my emails are on my phone, but Jimmy's 100% right. I should move my emails to my laptop because it's easy for me to close my laptop at the end of the day. Like I'm done and I just close my laptop. And that's like kind of what I've been doing. But I have to move my email to my laptop. So when I close it, I have no way of checking the email after that. And, and if I was going away or if I was going on a business trip or whatever, and I needed to work, all I need is my laptop. So, separating those two things also makes a huge difference. And your family and everyone else around you deserves that attention from you. My kids, like, yes, it is good to see their dad work so hard to build something and have all these things. My daughter, there's actually right here beside me, I'm in my office, and right behind me, my daughter wrote me a note, and I have it taped to my wall because I thought it was really good. I'll read it to you guys really fast. And it says, "Thank you for making everyone happy and healthy at your gym. Thank you to the other people who work at your gym that are also helping make people happy and healthy. You know, I hate when you rush me, but I always remind myself that it's good for a good purpose. You are teaching me to be responsible and on time. You help me stay healthy and strong. I think you are a great role model for people in our community." So they do pay attention to it. But my daughter deserves my attention. And if I'm on my phone and trying to answer leads and doing stuff with work, I'm taking the attention away from the person who needs it the most. And when your kids are young, in that young stage, anywhere between like that 0 and like 9, 10, they're very moldable, right? And they pay attention to a lot more than you think. And you need to be present during those years. You need to. So your family, your wife, if you have a wife, your girlfriend, if you have a girlfriend, needs 100% your attention when you're not outside of work. Now, I don't have a girlfriend, obviously. I'm married. But one of the things I will tell you, if you have a girlfriend who hates, you work all the time, you're too much at the gym, goodbye, get rid of her. It's not for you because she's trying to distract you. If she wants all your attention, right, and if she's pulling you away from work and work is suffering because of that, you need to reevaluate that relationship, because that is a selfish person who doesn't want you to achieve your goals. So you need to kind of move away from that person as best as you can and maybe find someone else. If it's your wife, it's a little different story. Obviously, you get committed, and it's probably for a good reason if your wife's saying to you. But
Yeah.
Jimmy has a girlfriend who's very supportive of what he does. So it's important, that he gives her the time then, because she supports him and she deserves his undivided attention. Jimmy, one more thing before we hop off, and it's been a while since I've gone out. But as a younger guy, how do you go out? I'm trying to grow this gym, but I still want to enjoy myself, my buddies, this, that, and the other thing. I mean, at this stage, I go to bed pretty early, and I would prefer to actually go and have a nice meal out with my friends and then go home and be home by a good hour and maybe watch a movie and then go to bed. But what do you do when your friends want to go out and all this other stuff? How do you balance that stuff?
Well, it's still similar because, I don't know how people's habits are with all this stuff, but I have fitness goals and strength goals and things like that. So my sleep has become much more of a priority of mine, with the support of my girlfriend, honestly, because she's very into powerlifting and that kind of thing. So for her, I would just go out and I would burn the candle. And I don't necessarily recommend this for you growing your business as much as you can, because in the beginning, I probably could have grown my business faster if I didn't burn the candle so hard in the beginning. Now, you can still make it happen. You can still make these things happen. But I remember I would leave the gym at 8 or 9, whatever time it was, go out with my buddies, go get drinks, do my thing, sleep for 5 hours or less, and then you'd be back at the gym at 5 or 6 in the morning back in the day. Nowadays that my business is pretty much runs without me, I can pretty much do what I want. A buddy wants to go out on a Tuesday night. Yeah, man, I have a meeting with one of my staff and I'm going to sit in on a sales meeting with them until 5 and then we're good to go. Or I don't have any appointments in the evening, so I go out with them, right? It's pretty easy to do at this stage. But in the beginning, it was hard, and my fitness really took a downward turn because I wasn't sleeping enough and I wasn't eating the right things and that kind of stuff. So in the beginning, so there's 2 parts to this answer. In the beginning, you want to curb that a little bit, because in the beginning, I think that people want to get away from their gym and escape it by going out and drinking with their buddies and all this stuff, because they're putting all this effort and energy into it, and they want to escape it, and that can stall your growth. So there has to be this season of pushing that to the side in the beginning and focusing everything, all of your attention on your business for probably about 18 months. Then from that point, you can start to schedule in and work in these things. One of my buddies taught me a really good lesson. He was co-parenting his daughter, and him and his wife had dual custody. So his daughter would be with him half the week and with his ex-wife half the week. And he was actually a client at my gym. And he taught me this great lesson where he said, well, I can only come into the gym on these days because I don't have my kid with me. But these other days, I have my kid with me and I want to be there for her and spend my time with her so that I know that I'm being a good dad and I'm focused on her entirely. So he separated his week in half. He was like, this half of the week, my daughter's with me. So I'm going to spend as many minutes with her as I can to show her how to be an adult in this world and mentor her. And then these other days, I'm working out, I'm focusing on myself, I'm getting an MBA. He was a software manager at this company. So he was working 40, 50 hours a week and getting his MBA and working out at my gym and competing in his first powerlifting meet. And he would work out 4 days in a row. And then the other 3 days of the week, 3.5, he'd be with his daughter entirely. So that laser focus. And he'd hang out with me when he didn't have his daughter, right? We'd go out for drinks or whatever. And I knew Tuesday nights I could hang out with Jonathan, right? I knew Tuesday nights because I knew what his schedule was like. So if you set that up for yourself with your friends, you set those expectations and you say, hey, I can go out on Friday night or I can go out on Saturday night because we have no sessions on Sunday. That's what you set up those expectations for, because they then know that they're also important in your life, but it's a season of restriction so that you only have that one thing. And when you set expectations, things happen that way.
Yeah, 100%. I will also say too that it's okay to say no. My buddy actually reached out to me and he's like, hey, you want to go grab dinner Saturday night at 9 o'clock? I'm like, dude, 9 o'clock? No, no way, no way. But we rescheduled it. He understood. If it's a good friend, they'll understand. So guys, that's work-life balance. Hopefully we've helped some of you guys kind of give insights to this. You can have other things in your life with your fitness business. You just have to be able to balance the two and having that laser focus. So guys, until the next time, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, we are out.